Hello, gorgeous gray women. How are you? It's Nicole Scott here. Another great interview all the way over from the UK. Georgia goes gray. Thank you, Georgia, for being here.
You are welcome. Hi, everyone.
A lot of you guys have already been following Georgia. If you guys remember a couple years ago, she was one of my probably first 10 interviews that I did. And it was so awesome because she was just starting on this beautiful journey. So we got to kind of hear her heart of, where she was, why she started. And I was going to cancel today because she told me she had COVID and she's like, I'm going to do this. I want to do it. I was like, you are so hardcore. I love you. And she got all dolled up and said it felt good to kind of make herself feel, like that woman. We like to kind of put ourselves together and feel good. So Georgia, thanks for rolling out of bed, even though it was hard because you're getting your health back and stuff. But I'm so excited to dive in and get some really great conversations about this conversation of not only going gray, but just redefining aging as we get older. So my first question, because if no one's ever seen your first recording or interview, why did you decide to go gray, silver, all the beautiful colors that we see in your hair right now? Why did you decide to go?
Well, it was the pandemic, and everything was closed and I couldn't get my hair dyed, and that's what started the journey. And I, as we discussed before, I was like, oh no, I can't go out. No, if everyone's going to see that I'm the age I am with the gray, oh no, everyone's going to think I'm old and everyone's going to think I'm irrelevant, and no one's going to see me anyway because we were stuck in the house.
Yeah.
However, that's what started it, and here we are today, and it was the best thing that ever came out of the pandemic for me.
Oh my gosh. So when I interviewed you, you were hanging at around 10,000 followers. You were, building an audience. Today, you're well over 100,000. That happened in a few years. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that you would have been this huge social media influencer with your silver hair? Like, tell us about this 2-year journey you've been on about social media and the friendships and just, you look like you have fun. I love following you. You're an entertainer. You bring joy, you bring happiness and positivity. And it's just so nice and refreshing to have that out there in the world instead of watching the news.
Yeah, true. I'm kind of blown away with the amount of people who I would have thought would not be interested in, a middle-aged woman going gray. I mean, who cares? It's just another color. And then over time, there are more people wanting to take that journey. And that's been great. And, the other thing is I don't really get caught up on the numbers because, some of those numbers are people who have, because a video's gone viral, and so they come in and they stay a while and then they go and stuff like that. So I never really focus on the numbers per se. I mainly focus on like the comments and the messages. I get some wonderful messages, and that's how I see that I'm going, I'm becoming an influencer, because I'm getting more and more, genuine questions about, about aging, about energy, about what can I do to do this? Not that I'm an expert, but, asking for advice. So I know people are actually taking in what I'm, trying to say with my stupid videos and things that some people think, well, oh, you're a waste of space, which I get a lot of those as well, because that's the other thing you get. The more followers you get a lot more criticism.
Yeah.
But that's, I could bring it on. I don't really care.
Oh, that would be my question, but I think you answered it, which is how do you deal with that criticism when they show up? Do you just delete? Do you block? Do you respond? Do you release?
It depends on the day. like, you know, there are times when, you know, you look and you think, oh, that's so silly. So you know, delete, block, delete, and that's fine. But then there are those days where you just feel a little bit sort of raw. And those days it gets to me. And, you know, my MO is to understand why would somebody who doesn't know you think it's okay to insult you, or to just say anything horrible. And I sometimes want to understand. Big mistake.
Yeah.
However, saying that, it happened once, and it was from a woman, and she was really horrible. And so I sent her a message, a private message, and I asked if she was okay, and she wasn't. And she apologized. And once she said, I didn't expect you to reply, but now that you did, I see that what I did wasn't right. I was having a bad moment. I'm going through this, that, and the other. And we kind of became friends. And she apologized, and we moved on. So every time I get a horrible comment, I think, what's going on in their lives for them to have taken that time to write that horrible thing? But most of the time, I, you know, delete and block. I've got to tell you, I have more people on my blocked list than I actually have followers.
I'm sure, right? How many proposals have you had?
Oh, you know what? You know, a few. Not as many as I would have thought. I do get a lot of pictures of people's anatomy.
Right. Yeah.
I get it.
Fascinating. Do you show it to your husband?
Yes. I'm thinking of, you know, having a collage of because you know, I'm probably never going to see another one in person because I'm happily married. So actually, it's interesting how different we all are.
I'm actually dying. I have tears running down my face. I'm trying not to, you know, like, oh my gosh. So I got together with some Silver sisters here in Canada about 2 months ago. We had some lunch and we started this conversation, just like we're talking about now, is the anatomy of the pictures that the men tend to want to send us. Some of them are action and video based, which I'm just like horrified. And so we made a joke and said, well, wonder, we're going to check, because oftentimes a lot of us won't check the, like, you know, unchecked mail, right? Like we just don't go there, like the, you know, the junk mail or the spam mail or whatever in our Insta. So we said, let's do it right now and see who has the most, you know, horrific or whatever that, you know, video would be. And sure enough, it was me. I'm like, oh, come on. So yeah, full on video sent me an Instagram. So we just passed it around and we just like totally had the same conversation we're having now. It's like, oh, that's interesting. It's a little on, you know, and we just critiqued it. And we're like, you know, and so we joked because there's this young lady that's serving us and she's like, oh, you guys are so funny. I love your energy. I love all your silver. You're like the best group I've had all week. And she's like, what are you laughing at? And they're like, oh, we see more pictures of, you know what, than you probably have seen in your, you know, your lifetime. And she just thought that was like the funniest thing, of that they're sending it to women with gray hair.
Yeah. So, you know, which just goes to prove that we're not irrelevant and forgotten. We are thought of at special times.
The silver wisdom. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the C word, cancer.
Oh, okay. No, not that other C word. I don't like.
We're done with that C word. We're going on to the cancer word now. You mentioned earlier that you went through some cancer and you looked at it as a gift rather than a tragedy. Do you want to dive in? Because I think this is a really important conversation to have, especially at this time, what's going on in the world where we feel there's a lot of sickness, there's a lot of people not well, and there's a heaviness to when you are sick, and there's perspective. And I love your perspective. And let's dive into that. I think people need to hear your perspective on what it did for you.
Sure. I mean, I've talked about my cancer journey a lot, on my in my account, and I don't want to go into
Mhm.
detail. But what I want to say is, it's strange how when you are given the news, you would think that you would say, "Why me?" You know, I and I was shocked when I got the news because 2 months prior. Jan- 3 months prior, I had gone and had a pap smear, a smear
Mhm.
test, and everything was clear. And so in 3 months, I grew a tumor the size of a golf ball. And so, you know, it was that shock of how is that even possible?
Mhm.
Um, but never did I think, why me? I just thought, okay, when you get bad news, it's strange how you react.
Mhm.
When I hear bad news from others, I always say, right, I would say, I will do this and I will then do that. And then, but it's not until you get terrible news that you know what strength you have. And it was that, okay, what do we need to do? And for me, my cancer was cancer because it didn't look like normal cancer. So I was in that limbo, and that's a difficult place to be because when
Mhm.
someone says, okay, you have breast cancer or you have cervical cancer or you have whatever, you go, all right, I know what I have, I know what to do with it. And when they were like, well, we don't know, never seen this before, let's have more tests. And it was that was the not, again, I never said why me, but it was that kind of thing of, look, whatever it is,
Mhm.
just tell me. But it was when I was going through the journey that I thought, this is a gift. This is a way that it's almost like a mirror has been put in front of me, and I have to decide who this person is going to be going forward. I could be the person that's, oh, poor me, and oh, I can't deal with this. Or I can be the person that says, all right, we're in this together, let's go, whatever the outcome. And I chose that person.
Mhm.
And in that time, I learned a lot about myself and my strength. I learned about who was important in my life and who wasn't. And I learned about accepting myself because I was never going to be the same. And that's why I say it's a gift. And yeah, so it was. I mean, you know, would I want it again? Well, no one wants anything bad to happen
Mhm.
to them.
Mhm.
If it comes again, am I going to be able to handle it, whatever the outcome? Yeah, I'm not afraid of it anymore.
Mhm.
And that was the same thing with the whole gray journey. It was that fear of, if I go gray, am I going to be perceived as
Yeah.
old or irrelevant or forgotten or whatever? And it was the fear that kept me from living the life that I wanted to live.
Mm.
And I'm here to tell you, when you let go of that fear, you live. And that's all I'm trying to do in my account, just to just show at any age you can live. I look at my 14-year-old and sometimes I'm like, oh, you're 14. Be enthusiastic about everything that's out there. And they're not, because they think that they've got a lot of time.
Mm.
And that's another thing, we're at this age where we know we're kind of in the middle,
Yeah.
and we only have half a life. Am I going to watch it, or am I going to live it?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So it's the cancer, the gift. Um, you weren't afraid. You kind of you felt the fear. You did it anyway. You got through it. You got on the other side. Then the great came. And so it's interesting how, and this is what I tell women when I coach them about fear, is the more that we do things that we're fearful of, but we figure out that we can get through it, it gets easier. Do you find that? Like it starts to get easier.
Yes. And now I take more risks. Because I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
What is the worst that can happen? What is it? I don't know. Do you know, like, okay, I won't go on roller coasters
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah.
only because, with my menopause, I get vertigo. So why would I put myself through that? And I don't get the same, exhilaration, because my daughter said, you're afraid. You're afraid. I said, I'm not afraid, because I just choose not to be dizzy and throw up. When I was younger, I loved that feeling of, oh, hey, I don't love that feeling anymore.
Yeah.
And it's okay not to love that.
Mm-hmm.
But with the grey journey, it's like, I have friends who are in their 60s, 70s who are like, I don't like the color grey.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they don't want to seem old, they just don't like that color. And that's okay that they're dyeing their hair. So it's only when you're afraid of something,
Right.
that is when you kind of have to ask yourself, why am I afraid?
Mm.
And if the reasons are because I don't want to die, then I get that. But if the reasons are because I don't want other people to think that I'm old, well, you're the only one that can tell you how old you feel.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's, yeah. But I
So,
take a lot of risks now.
right. I love that. Okay. So tell me the latest risks that you have taken that you're proud of.
Oh no, starting something new. Like, I try and do something new,
Yeah.
or something that I have never done before, almost every day. Like, we started. I put it on my Instagram today about, I started paddle tennis.
I saw
And
that. I saw you in your cute
oh,
little white outfit. And
no, that's a
that's
tennis
new?
outfit from. No, that tennis outfit is from, I think, the last time I played tennis, which was 2010. So it's old. It's old. But I've kept it because, I mean, I like to keep nice things like that. And then I wasn't very good at tennis. I, my I wasn't very good. Did it for a while. Didn't really enjoy it. Sprained my ankle a couple of times. You know, because the ball went there, I went there, and I still tried to get, so fine. And then when someone was trying to explain this paddle tennis thing, I was like, well, is it squash? Is it tennis? And I don't like the sun on my face, and I don't like, I don't like this, and I'm not as fast as I was, and all these excuses,
Mhm.
all because, do you want to know what the real reason was? You're not even going to believe the real reason. Because I don't like my legs, and you wear short skirts because they're more comfortable. I'm not joking. I
Wow.
am not joking. And so the first time I went to paddle, I wore my yoga gear, with my long black. I'll tell you how much sweat. And I thought, well, people are looking at me because I look out of place.
Mm.
And so then I was thinking, I'm going to take these legs out. And I went and I played, and it was fine, and I was fabulous, fabulously bad. It was fantastic. It was so much fun.
I love it. So you're saying you're doing the risk every day. I love that. Just trying something new or different or risk. Mhm.
Doing something new, like if I, I'll go out, and I like to walk the same way. I like to, do the same things. I'm like, wow, I'm going to take a risk today. I'm going to go this way. And today I'm going to, I'm going to try something new, something that's
Mhm.
not out of the ordinary for me. I
Yeah.
mean, there aren't many things anymore, because I like to walk in the street and talk to people. I'm not embarrassed to speak to anybody. I don't
Mhm.
care who you are, what you are, as long as I'm respectful. I will approach. Be aware.
I love it. I love it.
But I never used to be like that.
Mm.
I waited for people to come to me, and it was why would they want to speak to me, or
Right.
or why would someone smile at me, or why would, you know
Mhm. I love
it was
it.
like, Yeah.
So you went cold turkey with your beautiful hair. You just like allowed it to come in. It's been a couple years since we've had a conversation. What if some of the lessons that you have learned? You've got kind of this ombre going on right now in your beautiful hair, which is so lovely.
Oh, the weird thing is that actually it's almost, I only literally have this much left.
Yeah, you're almost there.
But
Mhm.
but in certain light, it looks like it's only to here, or
Yeah, it does. Hmm.
you know. But if you have a look, like it's all the way. See, it
Yeah,
depends on the light, and I think that it's actually getting even lighter now as it's growing.
yeah.
So these bits are always going to be kind of darkish. Well, anyway, that's what I think. Oh gosh, what's sorry, I'm getting it. Oh, oh, are
Everything's
you
good.
there?
I'm here. Yep. Totally
Oh
can
no.
still see you.
Okay, I don't know where you guys are.
Okay, no problem.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Uh,
So your lessons of the last 2 years of growing it out, because you're almost, it looks like you're still only halfway, but you're definitely a lot longer than halfway. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. In different light, it shows differently. And I guess because I do have a ring light, but the ring light's high, so it's really
Okay.
highlighting the top. But